Okay, if we're gonna fight this fight, and I think we're in it, so I think a lot of us have decided that that's the way it is. We need to probably be thinking about doing it right. And I think that we are in such a different place than the people that don't understand that we have to think about going back to where our heads were when we first started learning all the things that we want people to believe now, right? I mean, 5 years ago, I didn't comprehend anything that I know now. I couldn't have comprehended it. It was life altering to learn everything that I did. And yes, I'm getting really angry and frustrated that people aren't getting it, right? We've waited. We're wondering how long this is going to take. We want things to progress now. We're sick and tired of waiting for them. If they're not going to learn it and figure it out, then forget it. Who cares? We're just going to move on. But we can't. And I'm trying to have patience with that. I really am. But go back 5 years. When you thought of government, most people thought about government as being corrupt. You know, we knew that there were no good Democrats, there were no good Republicans, there were no good people leading us. From the federal, the state, the local level, probably you had a very poor impression of your government. You probably felt like it was never going to change, and you didn't like it, you didn't know what to do about it, but never did we really conceive of a deep state, did we? We thought, well, these jerks are just getting in office because they want the power and they're greedy and they're getting what they want for themselves, and maybe they're trying to get something for their states or their constituents, but that's only so that they can get reelected and hold office. I mean, that's the depth of the corruption that we imagined. That was what I imagined. I don't know about you, but I didn't have a good view of government, but I didn't understand government the way it really is. Now I conceive of a deep state. And everybody's like, there is not such thing as a deep state. I don't know what you mean by a deep state. Well, I conceive that there is a much larger entity that is made up of some very wealthy, very dangerous, very scary people. And those people have spent years and years and years working on our society from so many different angles that we don't think the way we used to. We don't value the things that we used to. Our morals have become pretty shabby. And now I understand that when our president is bad and our Congress is bad, it's because these people are so compromised they really couldn't be good if they wanted to at this point. Not without losing their lives, really. I've been hearing a lot of people complain lately about how, we had a brand new House elected, the Republicans got the majority, and they've done nothing in the last 6 months. Nothing's changed. Well, a lot has changed in the background, and a lot of us know that it's changing. But for people that haven't made the change in their mindset from, everybody out for themselves, they're just greedy, evil people, to these people are being controlled and manipulated by forces that we don't even understand or can't see. But they're controlled to the point of, yeah, they're made extraordinarily wealthy, but if they turn on this overriding force, they'll be taken out. And they know that. So it's a much bigger picture that many of us have come to see. It's a terrifying picture in reality. And, you can think about that in terms of the government. You can think about that in terms of the people that you have looked at and admired and thought, wow, these are really neat people, and now all of a sudden they're fading from the background, or people are kind of speaking ill of them, and you're wondering why. Well, a lot of us know why, don't we? The Sound of Freedom is starting to open up those issues for us. A lot of us have been talking about the issues that surround Hollywood, Disney, and all of these big entities, all the way up to the monarchy of Britain, the presidency in the United States, the Pope at the Vatican. We know that it's something much deeper. It's guiding. Their guiding principles are different than what we thought. We think of the Pope as being a religious figure. Religion means God. But what does God mean to the Pope? Does he worship the God of the universe? That created the universe, that created you and me, that created heaven and earth? And, you know, the author and the perfecter of the Bible? Mm-mm. They say God interchangeably for Satan. They worship Satan. Now, a lot of us have gotten that, but go back 5 years. When you heard Mike Pence talk about being a good, Catholic, and he believed in God. What God was he talking about? Because I tell you, he wasn't talking about the God I worship. But when I discovered that when they said God, they were talking about a different entity altogether, it tore my life apart for a while. Now we're asking all of these people to look at society, government, religion, nationalities, and realize that we've been lied to, that we've misunderstood what people are saying because they're sneaky and they're deceptive, that we have been controlled to such a degree that we didn't even realize we were being programmed to think things that we've come to believe. And so, I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to kind of keep it brief, but I just wanted to say, yes, we're getting really tired of waiting for these people to catch up. Tired of that. We call them the normies because they still believe the old way. But we were normies once too. We believed the same things once too. And now our heads are so full of this information, it gets bigger and bigger and more complex in our minds with everything that we study, everything that we research, all that we read. They don't even know how to find the stuff that we read. They don't even know how to find a way to research the stuff that we do. So we are going to have to prepare ourselves because we're getting closer and closer to that day when the world has to find out the truth, whether they're ready for it or not. And how are we going to be? Are we going to be haughty and say, well, you normies, you just didn't get it? Or are you going to be a person that says, you know what, I was there once too? Because we were. We have to go back. It's like a teacher who knows a high level of math but is asked to explain addition to a first grader. You can't start with the high level, college level math. You have to start with maybe counting on fingers. Maybe, pulling out 2 apples and 3 oranges and how many pieces of fruit do you have. You have to get very basic so that they can build on the concepts that you've learned and finally get there. They're going to need a bridge, and we have to be that bridge. So start thinking, if you will, about where you were when you knew. And you know what I'm talking about. That heart-crushing day when you started realizing that your entire life was a lie. And then you started finding out what the truth meant, and that was even harder. So, as we prepare, let's prepare our hearts to be the right kind of person. Let's thank our God, the creator of the universe, for giving us the insight to understand these things so that we didn't get left out of the process, because what a privilege it's been to be in the process, even though it's been hard. We also have the privilege to go back and remember what it was like and carry these people through. Because, gosh, don't you wish you'd had somebody to carry you through it? I do. I wish I could have said to anybody, hey, this is going on, and they'd say, yeah, I get it, I totally understand. That there wasn't anybody around when I went through this. Just a couple people. Now I have a whole group of friends who get it and understand and can talk with me about it, but those people aren't there, and they don't have those people yet. So let's get ready. Let's prepare, because if we're going to fight this fight, we're going to fight it all the way through to the end, and we're just getting started, okay? So you guys think about it. Think about where you started. Think about how far you've come. Think about what's really hard for people to conceive of that they may have trouble getting through, so that we can all be ready as a team to bridge the gap. Anyway, you guys have a really good evening, and thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.